Hey everybody, welcome back to Toy Blocks. Today we will be having a look at the Mafex Magneto Age of Apocalypse edition. This figure dropped about 2 years ago, but you can still find it. He retails for about $60, but sometimes people will try to push him up to like 90, but you can still find him for about 60 on a lot of the import sites. This figure comes in a nice import style collector friendly box with a front window display to show everything inside. You get a nice little comic style corner up there with the Mafex number, and the back shows the character in some different poses. Right out of the package, everything looks real good. No paint defects or anything on mine here. And yeah, it's just all clean, really nice. And this is how Magneto appeared in the 1995 Age of Apocalypse comic. And honestly, I would not be surprised if we somehow got an interpretation of this look with the long hair in the coming X-Men 97 Season 2. Magneto comes with some basic accessories just like the other Mafex figures, some alternative hands, heads, and effect parts. And we'll go ahead and have a look at all that, but first let's have a look at his hands. Magneto comes with 5 sets of hands in total. Right out of the box, he has a pair of his fisted hands equipped. He also comes with a pair of open palm hands with spread fingers, a pair of open holding hands, and a pair of posing hands that's very similar to the holding hands. It just looks like he's crushing something more with his fingers. And a pair of hands with an energy effect attached to the end. And they're very nice and shiny. They catch the light well. And the colors are really nice on here. Magneto's cape has a bendy wire on each side. And while it's not very strong, it still helps the cape to flow and get in some nice poses. You get a few different head sculpts with this figure. Right out of the pack, he comes with his grrr angry face expression. It looks awesome, and you can see his teeth some. His hair flows down both sides of his head in the front and down the middle on his back. All the hair pieces on this figure are attached directly to the head sculpts. You also get a shadowy face with this set, and only the eyes are painted white, and I think it looks really amazing. The hair here is the same as the other head, and it's soft, and it doesn't really hinder the movement side to side, but we'll talk about that in the articulation. And for the last extra head in this pack, we have a normal face without the helmet, and they also included an empty helmet that he can hold as an accessory. And honestly, it's just awesome. It's so amazing they included that. And he can hold the helmet very well with his different hands. And I think you can really get some great poses and take some great pictures with this. His expression is always very serious, as it should be. And there's not really a lot of paint on these Mafex heads. But as you can see with a nice light above, the sculpts really shine. And I appreciate that. Now let's talk about his articulation. Starting with the head, I mentioned a minute ago, he can't really look up a ton. But he can look down a decent bit. And he can also lean back pretty far and forwards pretty far. And he has double jointed arms that bend all the way up, with an amazing butterfly joint. Double jointed legs with a great foot rocker down at the bottom, and toe articulation. Also has drop down legs. And overall, the articulation is just great on this guy. And as I mentioned earlier, Magnus has a bendy wire in both sides of his cape, and it's not really that strong, but I do think it's better than nothing. And on my version here, it seems like they didn't use a ton of glue to hook the base of the cape to the chest, so I can just pop that right off really easy. And I don't know if it's intentional, But besides the square hole in his chest, I think that this really could be awesome for posing and taking pictures with. Like he's gearing up for battle, or he's just coming from battle, or, you know, he's discussing something with Charles. And with his long hair on this Age of Apocalypse version, you can really just turn his head a little bit to the side, and his locks will cover that hole in his chest. And that's so damn awesome, to be honest. Here he is with the new X-Men 97 versions of himself. I really appreciate that Mafex is getting to be about legend size over the years. Even if the heads are a little bit smaller, I still think they all look great together, and you can really start to mix them all up. Here he is next to Xavier on an innovation model Professor X chair, and you can buy this thing printed from me already on my Etsy store, toy.blocks.store. I'll leave a link to that in the description. If you have a 3D printer already, then you can buy the file direct from Colts, and I'll leave a link to that in my description also. And I want to take a minute to just remind everyone that these are 3D printed accessories. They're not resin printed. They're printed in PLA. So sometimes you can see lines or little imperfections, and I try to only send out the best of the best. And I still think they look just as good as Hasbro stuff. And the store has been doing really great. And I just want to thank you guys for that. I really appreciate that. And here he is next to Mystique. And I'm really hyped for the normal version of Magneto to show up now. And here he is on his innovation model Throne, the blocky edit. And I didn't get around to paint this one up yet, but this is another item I'll be having on my store in the coming weeks. And it will be expensive, but this thing is really a work of art because it will be all painted up, and I'll try to do it as nice as I can. And I might only have like maybe 1 to 3 of these up per month type thing, you know, because of the time that it takes to put into making these and everything. And I'll also have some human-sized Sentinel heads on there soon with some giant Sentinel hands for anyone that wants to make some ruins for their shelf display or their X-Men photography. I think all that stuff will go great. But speaking of great, this figure is great. I love it so much so that I have the normal version on the way, and I will be making a video for that when he gets here. I hope you guys like this review. I hope you guys enjoyed X-Men 97 too, man. I'm just still so hyped over that show. They did such an amazing job on there, and I was really, really impressed. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time right here on Toy Blocks. Peace.